Ryan Deiss, Funnel Blueprint. Hi guys. There was another webinar on the extremely informative Ryan Deiss Sales Funnel Blueprint last night. The last one webinar was only viewable for a few days after the event, then taken down. For those who haven't seen and are interested, here is the replay link dash. Why was it taken down? I always wondered if his revenue stream is as he says it is. Why not just sell products? He spends an exorbitant amount of time selling information. I heard him said on one of his videos that his mission and his company mission is to help a certain number of business to grow. If the man is good at what he does, is normal that he wants to share and sell his expertise, so he can make the world a better place. He says at the beginning of the webinar that he isn't one of those making money off of marketing by talking about marketing, but I wonder the same thing. Selling information is much cheaper, much like coaching. It's easier to write an e-book and sell it, then manufacture or import a product, test it, etc. The webinar is actually pretty good. I never fully understood what it would always talk about tripwires and all that, but Ryan's logic makes sense. So for now, I'm putting away doubts and enjoying it. I first heard of Ryan and found the funnel URL on ads thread. I thought the funnel stuff sounded brilliant, but as soon as I googled Ryan's name and found multiple dedicated hate sites, I got really nervous about taking the stuff seriously. As best as I can tell, it wasn't the work of just one guy that has a grievance with him, etc. Is there any proof his other businesses aren't just for show as a means to get people to buy the marketing info products? Not trying to be controversial here, just looking for facts. Thanks. Question everything. Truth can survive investigation. He offers the video for a limited period. Then gets people to sign up again to be notified when they will do another. Brilliant idea actually, as he is starting the lead magnet part all over again, building an even bigger list. If you watch it all, this is actually his core product and he sells the entire blueprint copy at the end. Says $1,000 to the first 10, but I'm sure everyone could get that price. The video itself though is very informative and makes sense. This is his funnel for the funneled training. I've gone through $1,000 his funnel training, and it's good stuff. I've seen his business model, and others doing the same thing, and it works very well. That being said, he is selling information, and you can search around, he has been highly successful. Again, he's making money off of his info products, because he can. I'm not saying his training is worth $1,000. But it's great if you've never been exposed to online sales funnels before. Agreed. But people have been seriously flamed for questioning people on this forum. I agree. It is great training, but if you have some knowledge of setting up funnels, it's not worth $1,000. Hell, just read some of the stuff posted here on funnels, watch Ryan's free webinars, and you've got 99% of it. Enough to go and use it to make money. Thought Vigilante would have said. Be vigilant. Unfortunately, Ryan came out around the same time the other big-name internet marketers were making a name for themselves. Frank Kern, Mike Filsaime, Jeff Walker, Eben Pagan aka David D'Angelo of the game fame, LOL, Yannick Silver, Perry Belcher, Andy Jenkins ex-Stomper.net with a bunch of other gurus like Dan Theis and Leslie Roch. Etc. etc. So he seemed to get caught up in doing a lot of the same stuff they did. Make money telling people how to make money formula. Obviously there was some learning to be had for anyone that were following, mostly from studying their launch tactics and how they marketed things. But recently it seems like Ryan has tried to be a little more legit with his efforts. He's still an internet marketer at heart, so I definitely agree with Vic, question everything and take everything with a grain of salt, but some of his stuff is quite good. Just keep in mind, If something is offered for free, then you are the product. Oh man, I wish I could tell you guys what I know about Ryan Deiss and all these other gurus. Let's just say it's 10x more profitable to sell picks and shovels and Levi's than it is to pan for gold. I really hope that's true because that's the project I'm working on, lol. Everything in their marketing business funnel leads to high-priced masterminds and consulting, i.e. somebody in their office going through the basics of a 5-step autoresponder. The person who makes the fortune is the one that sold shovels during the gold rush. He may be able to do it himself, but it's much easier to create salesmen out of affiliates by providing value through his channels. They are doing well, but not how you think. You guys feel like sharing some more info? Yup, was going to say, most of his money isn't from selling info products from what I understand. It is actually products and using the same methodology he teaches there. I feel like funnels are the new buzz thing around here instead of a marketing tactic as part of Empower All marketing strategy. Funnels definitely are all of the buzz right now. I would credit Ryan with that. Seems like ever since he started talking about them, people have jumped on board. I'm curious, why did you say instead of when referring to marketing tactics? Implying one should focus on tactics? Despite them being the trendy thing right now, they are very important and very effective. Technically they are nothing new. People who've been around marketing long enough are aware of them. Just different terminology. Ryan says something that I heard Dan Kennedy say years ago, I think in his Renegade Millionaire course, which is amazing, BTW, and it's one of the best pieces of advice I've ever heard, and yet almost everyone thinks the opposite is true. And that is, the person who can afford to spend the most to acquire a customer wins. Most people want to spend less and look for ways to spend less. If you can afford to spend the most, you win. Your competition doesn't have a chance. And won't even know how the hell you're doing it. I've dissected their business while spending some time in their masterminds and stuff. Actually, they have probably one of the most brilliant businesses I've ever seen. Yes, they make money on marketing information, but that's not where most of their money is made. Not by a long shot. These are real businessmen, not saying the other gurus are not. Anyways, just because the vocabulary has been funneled doesn't mean marketing has changed. These strategies come from the Ogilvies and the originals. Authors and brilliant men who have been dead for 100 years. You want to be as good as these guys, read what they have read. Robert Collier, David Ogilvy, J. Abraham, Che Holmes, names you may or may not have heard of before. Can anyone say mass control? The source on how much they make would be them. And, in general, the only thing bigger than who people are is who people say they are. I was curious about some funnel stuff, so had it on in the background listening in every now and then when he wasn't playing jazz flute. I just managed to not go to sleep waiting for the content, 20-to-1 jazz flute to content ratio. My learnings: don't rush the sale. Lead up to it, step it up and give alternates to pace the buyer and squeeze out what you can. Don't neglect alternative sales cues, they can give your marketing budget a boost. I don't get where kung fu is coming from what I heard. Except maybe that guys that make money shouldn't be dissed. That's why I sat through and endured the jazz flute symphony he had going on. I got the message was okay. Credibility was dicey, but okay. I had a cool thought though about how his funnel is really just the same psychology as copy. But I'm with Vic. I feel there are others saying the same things. I don't know how useful that info will be to my biz, but I'll optimize cues. I think that is fairly straightforward, just not with all the extra gadgets. Cues, experience and skepticism is your pal. Call me cynical, but I believe that a good product with a great value proposition trumps tactics every time. Sustainable business models are businesses that develop demand. Because I truly don't know the answer, can somebody list any tier 1 companies that use sales funnels as a means of converting traffic into sales? Is this an arena that is relegated to unknown companies? If this is a viable, ethical platform, have legitimate brands embraced this strategy? I am not insinuating anything. I truly do not know the answer to my question. Has this marketing strategy proven itself enough to go mainstream? I travel in a pretty tight circle of people, several of which are at varying degrees of success, from just starting out to super successful using sales funnels. I am just curious as to whether or not any of the big brands of consumer products have jumped on the bandwagon. Totally agree with that, and those names mentioned are spot on. Having done small-medium business marketing for several years now, I would say that most, or maybe even all, the marketing principles haven't changed at all over the years, on the basis that people are people and we're driven by some basic needs. What has changed is the environment, marketing medium, and the pace of things. Every business in the world that generates any revenue has some type of sales funnel. Leads go in the top of the funnel, and money comes out the bottom of the funnel. What differs from one company to the next is what's happening in between. I am talking specifically about the methods and tactics deployed in trainings, such as is the subject of this thread. Don't try to dismiss it as easily as everybody uses funnels. There is a new, emerging market discipline that deploys a specific set of attention and retention techniques. That's what we're discussing. Seriously? The trainings you speak of are meant to do just one thing: suck as much cash out of your wallet as possible. There is nothing new in these trainings you speak of. Trust me. I've been making money online before Ryan Deiss, or Google for that matter, even existed. I promise you that Ryan Deiss isn't inventing new marketing strategies or techniques. There are only new tactics due to new technology. Things like autoresponders, social media, etc. didn't exist back then, and they aren't coming from Ryan Deiss. Yes, absolutely, and great marketing helps sell more of it before word-of-mouth traction takes over. Hopefully at that point you've got a customer for life, aka a fan. Supermarkets doing different deals like 3 for 2 is an example, making you buy more than you need, and offering coupons and discounts. They also then promote their other services that they never provided before, such as loans and credit cards, insurance, etc. Costco sends out coupon catalogs keeping you informed about their latest offers. Even when you had no intention of buying anything, you probably would glance at the deals just in case. Groupon is another example. Always sending people offers to maximize LTV. Can you imagine them only offering one deal or the same type of deals? Cashback websites always promoting latest deals with email marketing. Nationwide chains of real estate agents offering mortgage services and solicitor or conveyancing recommendations for commissions. To me, aggregation is a who is stupid enough to click and keep clicking game. And that game is easily crushed when a customer is informed or aware. Yes, people will click and buy in circles, but is that long-term poison to your company? A friend said to me, before he landed a deal with Disney and Sony, that sales has to be done right at the top tier because most are like poison because they treat customers like C/P. He was wondering why some clients were going silent, so talked to them and investigated, and they all said that the sales guy was poison. So he found the real deal, and a cool couple $100K, and a week later he landed some huge contracts and sound relationships. Sometimes biz is more about weeding out total BS than tailgating, aggregating and customer mining. You got to build a platform of trust, give and take in as human of a way as possible. To do that, I think you have to give your customers and clients due credit and respect your equal partnership and treat them in kind. Drop poison, pick up the top 5 brands, hardly a coincidence, smells more like results. Depends on what you mean by tier 1, but a few that come to mind: GoDaddy, Basecamp, Groupon, Crazy Egg. There are literally thousands of them. GoDaddy is a pretty great example actually. We spoke about this yesterday, funny enough. One thing that is irritating as hell in the niche is the fact that people rent, sell, swap their mailing lists beyond that point of abuse. Some gurus are notorious for doing this. Yet I know some of these relatively biggish IMAs based on this side of the pond, and they're hardly making the money they want you to think they're making. If people knew the truth, they'd never sell another course again. Contrast that with one guy I know, who runs 2 of the top 1,000 websites in the UK. He would never do that to his list. Because once the trust is abused, the customers leave for good, and that affects his average customer LTV. Guess who has made GBP £40M plus in the last 11 years and has almost GBP £1 million of cars on their driveway? Nope, it's not the gurus. The niche is one big incestuous circle jerk and very profitable if you're into that sort of thing. You know, I've been noticing this when out shopping. All these micro tactics, like to roll out a different brand of multigrain bread, they slashed prices, introduced the other brand at the same price a few days later, then a few days after put the price back up. Or where I buy my corn chips, they reduced it from 2 shelves to 1 shelf to force people to go with the brand they put beside it, then next week returned it to 2 shelves. In the meats department, the pork mince was slowly rising by like 20 in irregular intervals, then it cemented, then they introduced a smaller portion size, then after another week introduced a kg size instead of the usual 700 grams size. Clearly this was driven by the stats they were getting elsewhere, and what strategies they are tuned into. I just admired the fluidity and psychology behind it and how they were constantly moving and refining. It could be argued that they're providing supply to almost satisfy a hot market. Not too different from the diet niche in some ways. If people weren't so naive, gullible and desperate, these types wouldn't be making money. Those warrior forum WSOs and multi-day pitch fest seminars are classic examples. Always claiming everything was so easy and quick, when it is everything but that. But the cold hard truth doesn't sell as well. Please, do tell. I'm intrigued. Funnels aren't some magic sauce. They have been around for decades, just not online. If you have an e-commerce store where people generally buy more than once, you have a funnel. Albeit a simple one. Last I hear, the survival knife funnel was doing about $6 million a year. Perhaps it can verify that. The magic sauce is the paid traffic and CPA costs. FCK it, I'll show you the results as I build mine. The funnel that Ryan Deiss is known for is the survival life funnel. Yes, he teaches different variations of funnels, but the survival life funnel seems to be the standard for which people are shooting for, and I think what it might be seeking examples of. I'll admit I was on the funnel bandwagon as well, but I've given it more thought, research, and have actually going through the funnel. Now I have a real issue with this type of funnel survival life. This is not to say that funnels are not good. They've been around for a long time. We've called them upsells, add-ons and other cool marketing terms. I'm specifically talking about the survival life credit card funnel that everyone is drooling over. If you choose to go through the funnel all the way just to see it in action, you will be sitting for an hour being directed to page after page and video after video, even when clicking no thanks. What you don't realize is, and Jason's mentioned this before, is that the credit card knife that you filled out the credit card form for actually billed you, and now every time you click add to cart your card is charged again. All the while you're expecting a final checkout page to review your cart's contents before you click pay now. You also don't bail on the continuous redirects because you're thinking you need to make it to the end to finalize your order. But that page never comes because they've already charged you. At this point it's a numbers game. They know that a certain percentage of people will get pissed off about that and call to cancel their order. And they're fine with that, likely because they know a larger percentage of pissed off people will never call and cancel. I happen to believe that this type of practice is despicable. Do a Google search for survival life complaints vertical bar scams etc. and read what is happening. That may be true, but the ends do not justify the means. Sorry, but money doesn't justify the means. If the means are nefarious, I really wouldn't care if he did $100 million a year. Sounds like legendary customer service here, eh? +1. Man, if you guys only knew what's going on behind the scenes with the Ngor ruse. I'm just not sure I can post details in a public forum. Let me ask my attorney when I talk to him in a few days. I just looked this up, here is there. To me, that page is just plain scammy. I would never not want to be associated with any business that practices business like that. I do, however, believe that funnels are being used legitimately and effectively obviously, and if there is a thing or two I can learn that is legitimate from Ryan Deiss, I will learn it, implement and move on. +2 I would love to know. I complained and they refunded all of my money, not saying that their funnel isn't slightly shady, it is intentionally confusing, and I would have happily paid for the CC knife, but they refunded me the two. Yes, the add to cart wording is confusing. In the end, good marketing and a subpar product is definitely in the grey or black side of things. And agreed, the ends doesn't justify the means. For the record, I'm not saying to be shady. I feel like most people miss the concept of repeat customers and recurring revenue. Don't lie, don't cheat, don't steal. Let's not rope funnels and marketing into this must be shady. You folks here are leaders, you have ability to learn things and take them at face value. Just because Ryan Deiss runs a funnel that you don't like doesn't mean that funnels are for scammy businesses. The point here is using knowledge and spooky it to your business. A side note, watch the Limelight CRM demo video. I thought scammy Akiri bills were banned by the FTC. I'm pointing out issues with the survival life funnel. Everyone is glorifying it. I wanted to bring some balance and perspective to the conversation. The last job I had did $100+ million in front-end revenue in 2013. While I was there, the company implemented a lot of the same funnel principles of what I see through the digital marketer training, mainly making the front-end sales price much more affordable. Not only did their profit maximizer products have a 95% plus conversion rate, they surpassed their $100 million in front-end sales within the first 4 months of 2014. Although it's nothing proprietary, I don't feel right posting the company name or specifics on a public forum, but feel free to shoot me a PM or Facebook if you are interested. Can we all get on the same page in defining the funnel in discussion here? Is it simply there? Prospects greater than leads greater than conversions equals greater than remarketing to converted, or are we talking about a bit more in-depth funneling? For example, here's my funnel for my company, which sells a product around since the time of Rome. Actually, I'll be real general to help people on here out. The op was regarding the creator of the survival life funnel. I get that. But I know as much about the survival life funnel as I do about horse racing bets. Watch the video. There is defiantly some informative stuff there. I agree with most though, in that a lot of the tactics he demonstrates appear a little shady, those really annoying sits where you can't escape for pop-ups etc. He mentions in the video that his company does 30M a year from this model. Who knows? It's not the business model I have issue with. It's the unethical at best tactics used in the survival life model. I can't speak for other implementations he or his team may have. I continue to bring this up because if people continue to point to survival life as the example, people may think it's okay to model what they're doing down to the confusion tactics and questionable credit card billing practices. What model is that? The model of confusion and deception? Reminds me of financier Alan Stanford. He was doing $30 million a week. He also used confusion and deception. Now he's doing time in a federal penitentiary in Florida. Just because someone is making $X millions doing X, Y, and Z, doesn't mean it's morally right, ethical, or in some cases, even legal. It really makes me wanna puke that some people are willing to follow this model because they're blinded by a little green. That's fine. I just hope I never come across your company or do business with it. Totally agree. If his practices are shady, I would never support. I personally don't know and haven't researched, as I don't intend buying his program. Just found the content in the video useful for funnels in general and thought others may too. For those of you who are confused with what funnel we are talking about in reference to Ryan Deiss and Perry Belcher, Ryan's partner, who did time in prison, take it how you want on that topic. Ryan's model is a 5-step process. 1. Lead magnet, something offered in exchange for a person's contact info, nothing new. 2. Tripwire sale, something offered at a very low cost, usually $7, but it can be anything you want. The main point of the TW is to get to someone from being a prospect to a buyer. The relationship changes when someone spends money, even if it's just a few bucks. 3. Core offer, this is the main thing you want to sell. Not low priced, but not high priced either. 4. Profit maximizers, basically, these are the upsells and cross-sells. These are where you can make a lot of extra money. This is because you already spent money to get the first sale, so any additional money here really helps. 5. Return path, this is where autoresponders come in. Of course you can stay in touch other ways as well. The point here is to form a relationship with your customers so they keep buying from you. This sales is always easier and more profitable than the first sale. This is also the time when you sell higher priced things like coaching, mastermind groups, seminars, etc. The whole idea behind this is that people were burning out their lists with the old way. The old way being get their contact info and then keep hitting them with emails until they bought. Now, with this new model, the whole idea behind it is that if you can get someone to buy something, even for only a few bucks, the whole dynamic changes. Mainly, you hit them with an upsell right away and they will be more likely to buy the upsell. BTW, the easiest way to create a lead magnet or tripwire is to pull something out of your core product and use that. There is more to it, but that should help bring anyone not familiar with it up to speed. I don't even know where to begin replying to this thread. Fact is, nobody likes marketers. We're liked as well as salesmen. But maybe not as bad as lawyers. You wanted to know what real businesses would ever use some type of funnel, and those weren't your exact words. I know, I'm just paraphrasing. The big secret behind anything called a funnel or any other vocabulary you use is called it would be helpful for people to stop getting hung up on the word funnel. Every business is either a funnel or a single product. It comes down to knowing what your numbers are so well that you can get creative with your marketing and breakthrough. How did Icy Hot become a household name? Especially when they had $0 for advertising and no contacts? Well, they knew their numbers really well, and by that I mean they knew that if someone bought one jar of Icy Hot, they would buy again and again. And not only that, they would buy their other products called upsell, add-ons, or cross-sells. This means they could afford to give away the first jar completely because they knew they would make money on the back end due to the. So what kind of a funnel did they create? Well, they needed advertising, so they went to 20,000 some radio stations and said, we want you to run our ad on the radio for free. And when you do so, you get to keep 100% of every sale that you make. The radio stations won big because every time they ran that ad they made more money than the price of the advertising. The funnel in this case was a tripwire low-priced irresistible offer which allowed Icy Hot to collect a list of customers, not just prospects, for free, and in doing so they could count on repurchase after repurchase. These guys have a long history of other products, but let's leave it at that for the moment. Why was Columbia House at one point responsible for 15% of all music sales worldwide? Because again, they knew that they were able to say give me $1 and I will give you 13 records or tapes. They lost money on every single one of those offers, but they knew that those people would stay in the membership program for around 11 months at full price, which was still a good price due to them creating their own printing presses. How about HomeX? The largest home builder in Mexico who grew by 300%. We're talking billions by creating a funnel for lead acquisition. Educational material on the dangers of many families or many generations living under the same household, plus a special deal for young families to purchase their own home. Their funnel included a special report instead of sending out big advertisements that said call us for a house. Every business needs a properly architected funnel, and no, I don't use the term funnel specifically. I talk about the dentists around the country struggle to get new customers. Market research tells me that it's rare people switch dentists once they've chose one. This is the reason that has gone through the roof for these dentists in recent years. So how do you create a funnel that is not only ethical but profitable? You create an irresistible offer. The latest craze in dental work is teeth whitening. A dentist on average sells a teeth whitening procedure for upwards of $200 in clinic. The cost is approximately $30 depending on who you talk to. Your funnel now becomes $30 professional teeth whitening? Hell yes. Now you tell me what happens. Every freaking time you go to the dentist they say don't forget about your fluoride, don't forget about this, don't forget about that. These are called upsells. My question is that unethical or are they looking out for you? The other part that is important now is you have a qualified customer. If someone comes in for a cosmetic procedure, would they be interested in more cosmetic procedures? Duh. Every time you sit in a dentist's chair you literally sit in a funnel, x-rays, braces, headgear, spacers, root canals, on and on and on. Oh but Steve, that's necessary stuff. Okay, let's go into the unnecessary. Let's take a random example. Oh, I don't know. A karate school. I found it was a very difficult sell to get someone to commit to getting their black belt. 5+ years of training and lots of money in the first 10 minutes I met them. So we started with a free class. Then $14.95 for a month plus uniform, irresistible offer. Then a year-long program. Then a 5-year program. Then a lifetime program. But the key was that I could lose money on the $14.95 plus uniform. I lost approximately $5 each because I could count on 63% of those people to sign up on the next program. And 24% of those people to continue on. I knew what is one of the hardest things to sell? A roof. Unless it has a hole in it you probably don't want to fork up the cash to redo it. How does a roofer then lower his cost of acquisition? Gutter cleaning. He gets on the roof and cleans all of the gutters for $15. Loses lots of money, but that cost is way less than the normal customer acquisition cost. Now he has created a list of customers and approximately when their roof needs to be redone. The customer is happy because they get a cheap gutter cleaning, the business is happy because they have generated a lead and customer. The wedding funnel is probably one of the hardest funnels to get all of the pieces together, but if you were able to figure it out you would make a fortune. Think about this, when a guy goes to buy an engagement ring they are extremely likely to want to buy a wedding planner, a dress, tuxes, a cake, catering, a DJ, a location, flowers, etc. 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 Now if you can be there at the start of this funnel you have unlimited opportunities. How many more would you like? Vic, you have a funnel in your business right now. You have many products called cross-sells, but let me ask, what is your customer acquisition cost right now? How can we decrease that by offering upsells, add-ons, or more cross-sells? How can you package other products that people would like? How can you offer more things your customers want? Training on how to use the products in your funnel. What attracts them to your business? What causes them to buy? Once they buy, what are they most likely to buy next? Couple of final thoughts. 1. Everyone here has hinted at people being unethical. Don't just say this is unethical or that is unethical. Global belief systems are very destructive and negative. Same reason we all hate the Germans. That was a joke, by the way. German. 2. 2 phrases everyone in business needs to learn, and 3. I'll steal a phrase from one of my heroes, Micro. This has become so politicized that if you say you're for something, automatically people assume you are against something else. Let's not sit here and bicker and argue about stupid stuff like this. Instead of saying this is bad, why not ask, why does this work? Why doesn't it work? Don't get defensive, get curious. Excellent post, Steve. A couple of points of clarity for you. 1. You didn't address the fact that the only source of insight on the revenue from his organization is his organization. I'm making a killing selling rubber galoshes. Millions. Let me show you how you can also make a killing selling rubber galoshes. Buy my book for only $19.95. But you have to buy the book today to get that special price. He has a funnel selling funnels and funnel building tools to funnel enthusiasts. The pitch doesn't work as well if you say I really don't sell a whole lot and many of my customers charge me back, but I will show you how to do what I do for the low price of. My point is simply repeating his success talking points, the root of which emanates from him, doesn't validate it. He needs you to believe that so that you buy his class. People on this forum have bought these classes based solely on these claims. I don't know if they're true or not. I'm simply pointing out the fact that he brokers information based on perception of his tremendous success. I'm not going to perpetuate that unchecked. 2. My question wasn't understood due to the brevity of my statement. I am not questioning as to whether or not there are other sales funnels in existence. I am questioning as to whether or not any top-tier consumer products brands have deployed tactics similar to those strategies used by the Survival Life funnel. In doing a little bit of side research on that since posting the question, the answer is seemingly no. Companies like Nike, Coca-Cola, and Zappos aren't bringing you into the top of an online funnel, capturing your credit card, and then adding dozens of affiliated hooks into you hoping that you don't generate chargebacks. My complete thought wasn't debating the existence of sales processes, but more specific as to these exact type of tactics and whether or not they are deployed by any household brands. And the answer is, I haven't found any yet. 3. There are many businesses that on the surface look legitimate but underneath are not. Your hometown happens to have featured one of the largest such examples of something that on the front side looked exceptional but on the back side was fraught with fraud. It's good to question processes and tactics with a skeptical and critical eye towards underlying truth. Legitimate businesses can face such scrutiny without concern. Within this forum, there is more and more praise for this type of business model, but there never has been a discussion about the ethics, legalities, and longevity of such a business model. As many people use this forum as a launching point for their own business ventures, this is a healthy discussion to have from all sides. Not every business practice that generates profit is worth emulating. You mentioned my consumer products businesses, and while I don't go into the specifics of any of those businesses here on the forum, my business generates lifetime consumer value by providing excellent products, a buying experience that exceeds the consumer expectations, and phenomenal customer service. As it pertains to my own businesses, I don't need any tactics to manipulate consumer behavior. It probably wouldn't surprise you to learn that we've never received a single credit card chargeback. I'm not interested in any of the specific details of my business entering this discussion so as to not create a sideshow, but we're doing just fine generating business the old-fashioned way. One customer time, and exceeding their value expectation. I want my companies to be legendary. As such, any new marketing strategies that I deploy would have to be to enhance the customer experience, not detract from it. I believe the sales funnel that GoDaddy deploys enhances their customer experience by broadening vision into ancillary services that they offer. They also give you an immediate and quick out to your shopping cart, without the need for a process that traps you in the cycle while they repetitively charge your credit card. I'm still waiting for an example of an 8-year consumer products company that deploys the same type of tactics that are deified in the quest to replicate the success or perceived success of the types of funnels in discussion here. I haven't come across one yet. So my conclusion is 1. Sales funnels are not only not evil, but have been around since the beginning of time. I'm sure at the Colosseum the Romans offered you add-on sales to go with your wine goblet. 2. There are great examples of great businesses that use sales processes to increase consumer experiences and sell more. At Best Buy, they called this increasing the basket, hoping a customer left the store as many items in the shopping basket as possible. They also focused on that being a great experience for the customer. 3. There are emerging new strategies in online marketing that use confusion, new processes consumers are unfamiliar with that mirror processes they are familiar with, and deception to inflate sales. Those tactics generate customer dissatisfaction, complaints, and chargebacks. Those are business practices that are not worth emulating. This is a healthy discussion for this forum to have as one of the higher profile entrepreneurial launching points on the internet. I will continue to follow along with this discussion and mine highlights and positive parts of new marketing strategies for my businesses. Don't be afraid to not drink the Kool-Aid. Obviously I didn't mean any of it as an attack on your business and I don't expect you to share your details. I am slightly biased because I've been working with those guys for approximately the past 2 years. I'm not going to reveal their business model on the forum, but we can chat in private if you'd like. My thought is that maybe you're trying to fit every business into Ryan's thing, and maybe that was the whole point of this discussion, but it's obviously gimmickized, new word, for the mass market. But upsells, downsells, cross-sells, loss leaders, monthly programs, inquiries, etc., etc. The stuff that make up a funnel is nothing new and is used in every consumer brand. Once again, maybe we're discussing if a consumer brand has used every step in the Ryan Deiss funnel program, so I could be way off here. And these popped up in my head as I read this because I don't quite have an answer. You mentioned capturing credit card billing. What makes it ethical and what makes it not? I asked this question in the shower after I read this. Yes, I was thinking about you in the shower and I'm going back and forth. You think Survival Life's monthly rebill is unethical, so I said okay, let me assume that's true. Then what other companies do I know that do rebills like this? There are a few people on this forum that do rebills like this that in the public eye are seen as more unethical. Then I thought okay, if this one is unethical, which ones would be ethical? But besides Acai Berries and Other Drive, Ozgrap, the only other one I could think of was Proactive. Are they unethical? Then I looked at all my monthly bills, autoresponders, hosting, etc. etc. Then I thought, is it only unethical if I'm not okay with signing up for it? Then I thought that's silly because I wouldn't sign up for it if I wasn't okay with it. Okay, so there are some that don't tell you you're signed up for it. Could this be key? If that's the case, Survival Life is okay because they tell you what you're getting and when you're getting it. But what about other factors? Easy to cancel? I guess I'm okay with my hosting and autoresponder because it's quick and easy to cancel if I want. Tell me your thoughts. What makes a rebill unethical, and what makes it ethical? Clear instruction on what you are signing up for. When you have a rebill system, use words like subscription and recurring. Don't say bottle of _ then I get bottles. Make it simple to quit getting more. One call to the newspaper, boom. No more newspapers. None of this. Call this 800 number between 3 a.m. and 4 a.m. Lower Restability time. With your 78-digit order number, 3 pieces of it ready to fax, your original credit card number, and the numbers on every bottle you have received so far. I have been reading a lot by Ryan Deiss for the past couple of months, but haven't purchased his training. I feel like I get it from his free material for a while, but also feel like a lot of the tactics apply a lot better to shady products with free trials. It exploits commitment and consistency, which is great. But people who generally drive the profits for things like the survival knife don't understand the level of commitment they are facing by just clicking an add to cart button. The truth of the matter, though, is that there are only about 5 to 6 ways to scale a business to infinity. I quote from there: realistically, paid acquisition on a high population ad network, Facebook, GDN, direct buys, TV ads, etc. is probably the most reliable means of all of these channels that applies to just about any vertical. So when you go that route, it's good to have an understanding of how funnels work overall, but you need to have the bankroll to fund all your mistakes. And, chances are, you can hit profitability and sustainable growth before you try to blast open such a high-risk, high-reward channel. F&K, maybe I was just completely off topic here, but I felt like it needed to be said. Amen to that. I have been a salesman and marketer for about 8 years now in one way or another. I was educated as an engineer, and was upset when I realized I had become a marketer or salesperson. Everyone hates us until they realize we are the sole reason for their bad businesses being successful. From that in, funny how in a world where marketing is so important and has been so important for millennia, startup founders are still willing to spend 4-5x more on engineers and designers than they are on their marketing. I interviewed with 3 startups in the past month, and all 3 had 3 to 5 engineers or designers before hiring their marketing guy. Then they want to hire the guy who will make all crucial business decisions for less than half they pay their development teams. Then people wonder why 85% plus of startups that receive seed funding fail. All that money, and no idea how to use it to get sales. Honestly, each individual's perception. I ran a software company that operated on subscription. Every day we would get angry emails about the second month's payment. Those people surely felt we were being unethical, even when our conversion page had 3 boxes clearly stating $20 or month subscription. I think the rebill is ethical as long as you make an honest effort to notify the customer that there is a recurring charge, and you make an honest effort to refund or cancel subscriptions when the customer somehow misses that fact. Caveat vendetta and all that. Steve, are you really suggesting that you think Ryan's funnel as described by Alan Crowley in post number 40 of this thread is ethical? It's actually worse than Alan Crowley described, but he revealed enough for now. I realized in reviewing this another difference in language and thought process. Some direct marketers calculate the lifetime value of a customer as in how much cash they can extract from a customer over a lifetime. Lifetime value to me is equal to how much value my business can provide to the customer over a lifetime. Plus one couldn't agree more. Easier said than done sometimes, too. How to win in the survival niche. 1. Create one of these 3 ads for PPC. Obama is evil, the economy will collapse and thus riots will ensue. You think you're prepared but you're not. To give away some kind of neat Chinese-made tool knife that looks like credit card paracord with Murican colors. Fire starter. Don't forget to charge shipping and handling. Don't forget to advertise on all war-related holidays. Don't forget to say you support the troops. 3. Run customer through no less than 5 upsells. 4. Get Asian outsourcer to write advertorials for news site to build community and long-tail traffic. 5. Send traffic to advertorials between pitches. Tag those who click through. Don't forget AdSense, links to affiliate offers and own products. 6. Send click-throughs from 5 to follow-up sequences. 7. Release new report every 6 months about the real pending economic collapse and send to buyers for new product or course launch that coincide with it. 8. Repeat number 5 and number 6 and number 7 for buyers, and start 1 again for new traffic and retargeting. Jokes aside and all due respect, of the 3 businesses in the survival niche I've written ads for, they crush it because they can drill the fear into the souls of their customers and their customers love it. I think some of the most skilled marketers are in this niche. They can squeeze every penny out of their customers. I'm extremely familiar with that funnel. I've dissected it with his staff and him multiple times. So my answer is yes. If you give me a chance, I'd like to share why I perceive it that way and see if you agree or disagree, and then maybe you can give me something specific as to why you think it's unethical. If I were to point out any one thing that would be somewhat unethical about it, is the headline after the initial front-end sale which says, "Stop. Your order is not yet complete." It somewhat forces people to sit through the presentation until they click add to my order or no thank you. But when you purchase anything from a business, do they not ask you if you'd like something else? Why is it different online? Because not many people have seen it before? Maybe in an online model, but Amazon says you might also like this and this. Would you like to add that to your order? Why is that ethical and this is not? If you were truly interested in survival stuff, wouldn't you be glad they offered all of this cool stuff? Is it unethical to you because you're not interested in survival stuff? Hell, I'm not. I wouldn't ever be a customer. My idea of roughing it is the old days in Scottsdale where it and I took too many of the complimentary bagels from the breakfast table. Once again, just because I disagree doesn't mean I want to attack you or anybody else. I think it sometimes comes off that way through forums, but tell me what you're thinking here. 1. Why is it unethical? 2. What parts of it are unethical, or is all of it unethical? 3. Would you ever be a customer? 4. Have you dealt with their customer service ever and have a personal experience of how it was hard or impossible to cancel? 5. Have you seen or consumed any of the products? There have been several people in this thread that have said all of this is unethical. Well, it's such a blanket term. Educate me here. What's unethical and why do you feel that way? I totally agree. Maybe we're not so far apart here. It's not about getting, it's only about getting what it's worth. And I wholeheartedly believe in providing way more value than what a product costs, no matter the industry. This right here. Rep dollar transferred. Great discussion and hopefully teaches others to fully explore anything before handing over hard cash. Just to clarify again, the purpose of starting this thread wasn't in support of Ryan Deiss, or his program. It was merely from an educational standpoint for some who may be curious as to what an online funnel was. Either for or against this program, we can't deny that the process is well explained. Hopefully most on this board would have the common sense to dig deep and decide if this company and its practices are indeed ethical before deciding on any commitment. He even states that some of these tactics are extreme and you may not want to employ some methods used in the examples. Doesn't mean an ethical business couldn't use a platform similar to this to get results in an honest way, and many do. As others have stated, there is nothing revolutionary here, and this funnel, or variations of it, are used in just about any business. In the corporate sales world, they are often as complex as this, and I have used many over the years with great ethical end results. Enjoying reading others' thoughts on this subject. Not the attacks so much though. I took the link from the op. I listened to the first 10 minutes setting the stage and the last 5 minutes the hard close. Trying to put a pencil to the model. Just one long infomercial for his fully optimized 5-step sales funnel program. This investment should pay for itself in no time. $958 for the course, and then you still have to build the funnel and source the products. If your website costs you $5,000 to build, and your product net margins are 25%, you need to sell $25,000 worth of merchandise to hit your break-even point, not including the front-loaded costs of any paid advertising. Not sure how long it will take the average venture to produce their first $25,000 in sales, but that is what you should be looking at to hit the break-even point, assuming you don't buy any additional courses, materials, or tools along the way. Help me with the math here. How much do you need to spend on the front side to reach a break-even? I think you need to spending $1,000 on the course makes no sense unless you can pay to have the website built, source the products, and buy the traffic. Is that accurate? Wild ass guess says you need somewhere between $25,000, $50,000 to play. I might be wrong. Hopefully your margins can be much stronger on the initial sell of what the customer puts in the basket. I'm not sure what you're asking here. Every business is different of course, but I think what you're asking is whether or not a completely new person could buy this program and build a business out of it, yes? If that's the question, then no, absolutely not. So many people think they can build a business out of nothing these days, and it just isn't true. I believe this is a marketing blueprint being sold, not a made-for-you business or MLM or anything else. I would personally think that you would first need a business to need a marketing plan, but maybe you're upset that complete beginners have purchased this plan in the hopes that it will make them rich. If that's the case, isn't that the fault of the customer, not the malicious marketer? Why do you need a marketing plan for a non-existent business? Sure, business really is only innovation and marketing, but you can't really have one without the other, am I right? Accurate for what? Once again, I think you're asking an odd question. Does it always take 25k, 50k to create a business? I don't think so. Maybe I'm old-fashioned. But other than that, I'm the wrong person to ask. I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on courses and seminars and coaching and books that have been out of print for 100 years and all sorts of stuff. In my consulting practice, I've noticed businesses really only have 3 problems: low sales, low margins, or low cash flow. Regardless of the funnel, these problems need to be addressed to make the business grow. I'll use every tool at my disposal to do so, and by that I mean ideas from Ryan, ideas from Jay Abraham, Che Holmes, Dan Kennedy, Frank Kern, David Ogilvy, Robert Collier, Gary Halbert, and all the other people I've spent so much money learning from and applying. I'm not upset about anything. Just studying this, and helping break it down into bite-sized morsels. I am pointing out what might be the obvious to some, including you, but that this is a system intended to take a business that exists, and deploy a new marketing strategy for it to optimize customers and conversions of paid traffic in a different way. This isn't a business in and of itself, and I am not suggesting it is being marketed as such. I am just pointing out that what this is a way for someone to start a business and create a funnel to sell stuff, although, I suppose they could technically if properly funded. This is a marketing strategy that can be purchased and implemented. As such, buying this course would be relevant to those with an existing business, some cash flow available to deploy the strategy, and meet the other cash-related requirements. This has been my first deep dive into this, so I am just sharing my kindergarten-level observations for others like me that have casually watched this. This type of funnel isn't akin to sourcing a product, sticking it on eBay, and seeing what happens. This is a high-level deployment of a marketing sales platform for businesses with products, development cash, and paid traffic generation knowledge and cash. This is marketing 2.0, not a game for beginners. I know people that are at the very front end of bootstrapped businesses. They might have invested $2,000 into products for test market resale on Amazon, eBay, and perhaps their own off-the-shelf website. They're not candidates today to build a sales funnel. The cost of entry is much more significant. I like to make things as simple as possible, and if I were to wrap up this whole program into one idea, it's this: how to increase the lifetime value of a customer. I guess when I read that I could see how people might think that's the same as sucking out as much as possible, but I'm not quite sure I think it's the same. It's not like they are nickel and dimming their customers. They are just offering more products. I used this example in one of my silly little marketing reports the other day. It was on upsells and add-on sales. How the difference between appreciation for the offer and pissing someone off is: 1. The relevancy. Something related to what they just bought. If not related, they get pissed off too. If it is required. When I was working for the Shack years and years ago, Hewlett-Packard came out with this low-tier printer that was priced ridiculously low. Great deal, right? Except it didn't come with the power cord or the cord to attach it to the computer. So we had some very angry returns. And when we all finally knew it didn't have the cords in it, we had to tell them, hey, this will only work if you buy this thing, too, and now everyone is angry. Brilliantly said. I'll start this with saying that I haven't been off their funnel myself, so correct me if I'm wrong with what I heard. It sounds to me that there is an add to cart button during the upsell videos or add to my order, which, most commonly trough online businesses, means they can review the items in their cart before finalizing their order. From what I heard, there is no finalize option and processes the payment right away. Awesome discussion. Just throwing this out there. Selling information products on how to make money online is basically the same thing as creating a product in a different niche. Though, it's easier to do once you have a lot of success already making money. I don't see it as being shady that someone would make dollar in one market, then switch to teaching people how to make money. I don't think that just because someone teaches others how to make money for money, it disqualifies their other business success, although I do agree with skepticism. This trend is pretty common: make a bunch of money in something, sell a product teaching others how to do it. MJ did it, and that's why we're all here. For better or worse, the make money online niche is full of people ready to spend money, and if you've made a lot of money, you already have their attention. Might just be a path of least resistance thing to sell to that market, instead of creating a new product in a brand new niche. Plus, unlike creating a new product in a different niche, it also offers the opportunity to give back. FCK. You just stomped on my dream, bro. Great thread. I learned a lot. Thanks. Also very civil. Here's my personal 2 minutes view of a funnel. You guys be the judge. When I went through their funnel, I recorded everything. Mods, if this isn't okay, feel free to remove the links, but it's all free info if you spend some time going through it. I spent $180 and about an hour of my time going through this. Give me a rep if it helps you. Landing page funnel. After you enter your CC info, very simple diagram of it, you can see it's out there for public consumption. Keep in mind, they have a system of downsells as well, so it can get quite complex. For example, if you say no to LL, they have a free trial of it, or at least used to. Steve, being as old as I am, and having been running this forum for 7+ years, nothing shocks me any longer, especially when money is a part of deliberation. If you want to expose someone's character, all you need to do is add in a little money into the mix. What are they willing to sell? Overlook? Keep sacred? Words don't reflect character, actions do. So character is not something to be discussed, but something to be judged based upon actions, or inactions. Introduce money into a relationship and make it a part of a deliberative process, and sit back and watch. You'll see someone's true character come into the limelight. It appears you want to redirect the discussion into a conversation of sales funnels, which is a distortion. This isn't about sales funnels. This isn't about acquiring leads and maximizing customer value. This is about explicit use of and as a marketing strategy. I call it, you know how magicians fools us? They use our cognitive psychology and cognitive inferences against us. Yup. They use our own minds against us to fool us, craft illusion, and deceive. You may have heard the term sleight of hand. And now we have it as a marketing strategy. One in which you are clearly advocating. You see, in the marketer's world, it's common knowledge that people do not read on the web. When they see blocks of text, they ignore it. They skip it. In the marketer's world, it's also known that users do not read terms of services, or user agreements. Well, it didn't take long for a scammy marketer to figure out that that's a great place to hide whatever you want. Perhaps a continuity clause. Or maybe an upsell after an expiring trial. Or perhaps a subclause that disclaims you agree to sell your firstborn daughter to human traffickers. In the marketer's world, it's also known that people will click on Add to Cart knowing that they can review the order before accepting and moving forward. It's a cart, right? Cart implies a cart must be wheeled into a checkout. Well, guess what? There is no law that says you need to provide an order preview page, or a checkout, so why do it? It's also common knowledge that most people don't even know how to charge back their credit card. Many just chalk up these oversights to making a mistake, and even feeling foolish. Damn, I was tricked. Then they move on with life. Meanwhile, the scammy marketer makes money. Oh, he's doing $2 million a month. As I said above, I don't give a FCK what they're doing monthly if they're magicians. Magicians don't impress me. Great products selling wildly, minus the magic, impresses me. You see, these are. I expect to find them in Las Vegas, not online when I'm trying to buy something that will make my life easier. By all means, let's discuss customer optimization, lifetime customer value, and sales funnels. These strategies as posted by Ed are great marketing angles. But please do me and the forum a favor, leave the magic wands at home. You may not be able to build a business from nothing, but you can perfectly gain some side money online that can fund a business or brand. Go read some AMAs from this forum. Seems like there's a lot of arguing in different directions here. Almost all marketing is using sleight of hand to some degree, and sometimes the line can be a bit fuzzy. However, the crux of this one doesn't seem fuzzy at all. Well, how about this? If the process causes people to buy without realizing they're buying, then it's pretty hard to argue that the process is ethical, isn't it? It's sales by deception. Surely some people are stupid and will buy unintentionally on even the most obvious process. But how many stupid people do you get to take advantage of before it becomes your problem and not theirs? How about Zynga? And probably lots of other social or mobile companies or Dell? Source, I worked there, and yeah, it was f-king shady, maybe not using exactly the same tactics that you mention, but close enough conceptually. Companies can do some pretty foul things to carve out market share. Once they're big enough, sure. They should probably start behaving themselves. But do you really think Coke has never done anything unethical in its 100-plus year history? Not even considering that they're marketing an unhealthy, addictive product to children. Interesting thread. This is basically the entire supplement or diet pill industry. Lifetime customer value equals months of recurring billing until the spouse checks the credit card bill and cancels. Unethical, I feel MJ nailed it, but my ad is that ethics are distorted when you assume the customer's end goal is to pay you as much money as possible, involve as many friends as possible, and talk about you as hyper as possible without considering what they actually want. It's called brushing over the facts. You can see it here as Vig illustrates facts of the models, looks at it and remains stoic. He is waiting for a value proposition, but is hit with air and flailing arms. The problem is that this is puppeted as credibility. And figures are thrown around after the fact to refute experts' criticisms. It attempts to usurp critical components to authority. When we usurp the principles of credible business, we are on the slope towards unethical action, and even with naive intent we'll start making mistakes. Like, oh, I misordered that, and now it's perceived as fraud. The fact is, you don't have to be naive to unethical stuff sprouting in your business model. Just remove the smoke and mirrors. If you are using unsafe a practice that uses smoke and mirrors to create credibility, you are not technically fraudulent. But do customers care about technicality, or do they care about whether they feel they are getting screwed or not? If you are firefighting and dousing flames with more hype, more smoke and mirrors, all you are doing is being territorial and cordoning of the smart from the foolish to herd the foolish against their later gained good judgment into a circle of purchases that's primary purpose is not to provide results but popularity. As if popularity improves the product results. No. If you are not focused on the results for your customers, then amidst all this popularity, who is enhancing their results? While you are distracted hyping, there is only stagnation in your model and an enhancing confirmation bias forming about the effectiveness of what you are doing. See how many showed up. We are boss. Wow, we got 30 meters. Haboos. Omga few flame wars, PSSHT. These silly people, you can't recall success based off of honest indicators cause you don't have them. We gave X business the model, and this was how it worked for him and the benefits. We changed Y because we found that Z businesses function better with it. We have 30,000 successful launches, not hype, not out of context. You are ignoring the utility of honesty. And all because the pressure of delivery on promises is perceived as their problem. Their problem models are not ethical. They are also a slippery slope that leads to mistakes that will break into fraud if your business goes under stress. If you build a business that way, it's eventually going to snap. I've spent years focusing on results for clients, so it is clear to me when others don't. We can all laugh and joke and blow it off, but that's stupid. Business isn't a joke, and neither is properly implementing this stuff to get results. You'd know that if you spent time building results, not just fapping over money in ideas. And BTW, these are just ideas, they are not confirmed to be used by the best companies in the same spirit. You insisting they are is BS because you don't know and don't spend time consulting with them or studying them. You are playing pin the tail on the donkey and then selling the crossword solution you came up with for an inordinate amount of cash that isn't at all justified as a business consultancy cost for a startup. What does that make you then? You are unaware of the end results of your business, giving people debt they won't pay off after applying the product. You have no evidence to suggest the client will even break even on the cost. You place all the blame on them and say if you were a marketing genius then it would work. It isn't about this ego sidestep BS, it's about you not even getting people to a minimum value, with the excuse of arguing about the intangible being wildly successful. So yes, it's not ethical, legitimized, or lacking exploitation of its users. Because you are the exception to the rule. Not a provider of genuine support. I see no reason why anyone should support the model until it shapes up and has a use outside of excessively overpriced infotainment. Trying to pull out the core of what this whole funnel craze is all about, and my answer was nothing new on the ethics side. I simply posed the question, what unethical, and what makes it unethical? That mentioned that the add to cart button auto-charges your credit card before reviewing the order. That wasn't the case before, but if that is the case now, I would agree that's pretty shady. Hey now, I don't think that's fair of you to say. Of course, I'm not advocating deception and confusion. I thought I was adding to our conversation here about this by giving 7 examples of how some of the principles were used, but in a different vocabulary. I think you of all people know that my heart is in the right place. Why not make that assumption as we are having this conversation? I thought that's what we were doing. No big deal. Just thought I would show things from a different point of view and ask questions to understand the other. What you're not taking into account is that I actually do care about people and would never take advantage of someone. So let's just call it case closed and try again another day. That's where I drew my assumption on your advocation. If I'm in error, then my apologies. That one phrase was completely taken out of context. This was the full of post, so yes. It wasn't quite fair to jump to the conclusion that I advocate deceptive and confusing tactics off of one sentence taken out of context. That's silly. But give me a chance to clarify. 1. I was asking questions about ethics, particularly to the people who were questioning and myself. I was posing philosophical questions about what makes rebills unethical. Why are we okay with our hosting monthly bill and not okay with Dr. Oz diet pills, super weight loss formula, okay stuff, and I was trying to ask what was the differentiating points. 2. Once again, Andrew brought up that inside this funnel currently it's possible your credit card is being billed in a weird way. I don't know if that's true. That's why I kept asking what is unethical about this, and that answered my question. I asked a simple question for clarification. New information changes opinions. But you can only get new information by asking clarifying questions. Everyone seemed to attack these guys, and my simple question was why? I admitted I was a little biased towards these guys because I know them. But on the other hand, I was completely open to new information. Tell me why instead of attacking for no reason. This is what I think, and this is why I think this interesting. Tell me more. Be careful of using examples of BS as permission though. Mike Tyson bit off a guy's ear. A guy kicked Bruce Lee in the back. Yes, there is corruption at high levels, but it is not validation of it, but in fact the opposite. A weed we need to pull. I draw the line of ethics at predictable or reliable profit for the customer niche. I don't sell outside that niche, like I won't sell a guy a skirt to wear to his date that looks like a shirt. A customer shouldn't be making a loss on their purchase. Because I believe in creating a profitable economy. When you force a dog-eat dog, the bear starts to get angry and sink ships. Or in other words, you poison your network of support by validating corruption. It was a joke. I have several small businesses where I created something, revenue streams from nothing, ideas, information, intangible web traffic. Shame my streams aren't enough to support me at the moment though. When I think of good marketing, I think of it this way. If my customer were able to process all of the information about my product, and all of the terms, and did their due diligence, would they be happy with their purchase? Would it be the best thing for them? Would their grandmother approve? Would my grandmother approve? If the answer is yes, it's ethical and sustainable. If the answer is no, then you're just a hustler, running from one hustle to the next. Bad marketers and salespeople make their customers feel sold to. No one likes to be sold to. They like to buy and decide. They like to spend, and feel good about their purchases. Ever hear of retail therapy? They don't like to check their credit card statement, something that most people don't even look at, and see that they have been charged for months of a pill they didn't even want to begin with. The problem with most offers and offerers is that they are doing a whole lot of selling to, and people aren't doing a whole lot of buying. Best Buy. I've heard multiple times still doesn't mean it's 100% accurate. I know they sell most of their items at cost. They make most of their money on warranty upgrades and Geek Squad stuff. If that is the case, then let's use a $20 purchase at Best Buy as an example. Lead magnets, circulars letting you know about deals. Tripwire, anything from a $10 CD to other items at cost. Core offer. I'm sure they have some items in their store they make money on that we could put here. Profit maximizers, warranties and small items at cash register. Return path, weekly emails, award points which give gift certificates when you reach a certain amount of points. True. But they are still worth learning from. Be the wizard, but beware of the wizard. Best Buy does not sell most of their items at cost. I wasn't saying that these things were okay. Vic asked repeatedly for examples of top-end companies doing similarly shady things, and I gave some. Vic got it right. I used to work at Best Buy a few years back in the Geek Squad. Some products have very slim margins. Things like computers and all Apple products. The Deiss stuff they sell is their own brand, though. Their margins on these products are tremendous. They normally push the Deiss stuff over the name brand stuff, saying that it's all made in the same supply chain, but they have less QC to justify lower costs. As a result, they make a convincing argument that you can buy Deiss which is same quality as Sony or Samsung and make up for the lack of QC or confidence by buying their support plan which has a huge margin. Also, things like cables they make a huge margin on, even the name brand stuff. For some of their products, you may be able to look at it as tripwire or lead magnet, but that's definitely not their core business model. Just to make clear, that's what I heard. I didn't see it myself, so it may or may not be the case. It appears Jason posted some stuff to show exactly what happens. I haven't had the time to go through those. Wow, is it me or was that a brain ache of a read? I'm having trouble digesting that into simple language that my brain can register and understand. This thread seems to have got a life of its own all of a sudden. I haven't been through the whole survival life sales funnel, but regarding the question of ethics I find it a very simple matter of is what you're upselling or downselling or cross-selling actually in the best interests of the customer or not? In other words, are you doing it to make money for yourself first or are you doing it because you genuinely want to provide them something that adds value to their lives and helps them in some way first? When someone is doing something that takes advantage of social compliance or anticipated standard human behavior, then that to me is deception and misleading. If I see an add to cart button, guess effkin what, I expect to see a cart somewhere. I don't expect to get billed. When I go to the supermarket and add a tin of food to my cart, I'm not billed for placing it in there. I'm always given the chance to remove it at any time up to the point of me taking out my card to pay for my shopping, dissecting and debating what is technically ethical on the basis of whatever rationale you can come up with is BS. The point is so damn obvious that to debate and discuss it is eyebrow-raising in itself. You guys are all right on. I'm not going to name names, but these guys are mostly crooks. Some of them literally convicted felons. Some with FTC judgments, etc., etc. Here's a real simple example of how they lie to you right from the very start. This is a landing page for Frank Kern's latest promotion. Now Frank is a sharp guy, and obviously makes a lot of money, but his entire funnel starts with a lie. The form says where should I send this special 45-minute video? It's all a lie just to get your email address. The video doesn't get sent to you, it's on the next page after you enter your email only because you thought he was going to send it to your email. I know this may be a small thing but it's premeditated deception from the very first interaction with the customer. And from this point on it's all NLP, social engineering, and mass control to squeeze as much money out of you as possible. These guys are good marketers, but ethical they are not. That's why lots of them create what appear to be real businesses on the side, so they have something to point to and tell their friends and family about, because they'd never want to tell people how they really make most of their money scamming desperate people. Most of them have tried to start real business offline and all but one that I know of has failed miserably. Frank Kern retired from teaching internet marketing and selling trainings a handful of years ago and swore he'd never be back. Started an offline company with a convicted felon that bombed miserably and lost a shitload of money, so now he's back doing what he does best. Crazy to think I used to idolize these guys. Now they just make me sick. What do you think the reason is they fail at offline business? After downloading one of the SWF field that it uploaded, I can't believe that there are arguments of this not being unethical. The video states that you need to buy their extra tripwire because if not someone in your family could get raped and you need to protect them. I can't believe they even said raped in a sales pitch. It's kinda like me going into a home store to buy a table and someone saying, "You need a knife because you could get mugged walking out the door." I'm all up for making a funnel if, as already stated, it provides a service or product that will improve someone's life or fill a need. I'd rather make £10,000 a month doing the right thing than making 1 meter if they even make that, dropping awful sales techniques and wallet rapes all over my site. Survival is more of a big deal in the US rather than the UK for me. Comment on the market, but I can't believe this is working and people are falling for what it pretty much a trap. I'm not sure what the actual tripwire product you receive is like, but I assume it's not worth the amount asked for. Going back to the amount they make through these sites. It sounds like made-up figures. People who generally earn a lot do not like to reveal too much on how much their businesses is currently making. Maybe it's because they've never ran a proper business before? You know, one that is based on actually providing a service or product that people want and value without massively overcharging? I know of one well-known IMA in the UK. He sold about $200,000 worth on a ClickBank info product launch a few years ago. Lasted maybe a week at best and that was the end of it. Sounds like a lot, doesn't it, especially when 90% of that money came from the first day. But, deduct about a 30% chargeback for refunds, and you're left with $140,000. Deduct 50% to pay your JVs who are mass spamming. Mailing out this special offer must buy product to their lists, and you have $70,000. Deduct development costs and overheads such as currency conversion fees, accountancy, etc. of $20,000 and you have $50,000. Now remove a bit for taxes, and you get $40,000. That's about £24,000 net in the UK. The whole process from concept to sales tail off is about 6 to 8 months. They boast about what they are making when they state just revenue. They never tell you how many hours they've put in and busted their guts to get the product out there, and how only a fraction of that is real net profit for them. Now you know why they churn products after products, often rehashed shit, and sell seminars after seminars. If their one business or product or online marketing strategy is so good, they wouldn't bother selling courses after courses. They'd be quietly killing it online and living in Monaco. And maybe you could talk about your experience working with these guys as consultants. How has it impacted your business? Do you work with digital marketer, or someone else? This seems to be a really polarizing thread or topic, so I'd love to hear both sides of the argument. I've watched the funnel blueprint video and was considering buying it. The greatest irony of this is the headline. It reads, "So to establish trust, start with a lie." Got it. But wait, we're marketing. So we can do that. Right? Sadly most folks will justify the means for the ends. Show 'em a little green and all critical thinking goes out the window. Win the battle, lose the war. I think that emotional deception in this manner totally kills LCV. And distracts from the need to improve their product. Sorry, but I've never heard of any of these guys mentioned. I'm considering hiring them to build my funnel, and this is my main concern. My goal is to build a real brand, using the online stuff to support our national retail rollout. I need to be sure not to do anything to hurt our brand value, and get spanked in the marketplace. I believe they can play by my rules, and build a funnel to be proud of, but I need to be sure. Can't have this come back to bite me. I'd rather do $0 online. I'm new here, but I'll chime in because I'd love to hear this. I'm on the verge of hiring these guys and want all the info I can get. I know they can't make me do anything I'm not comfortable with, but, if everything they suggest is unethical, then they can't possibly provide any value to me. I'd veto everything, and end up with a big fat zero to show for my investment. Email Kung Fustev. He is traveling around the States at the moment. I'm sure he could jump a call with you about it. Thanks. Not sure how to get in touch with him. I looked at his profile page, but no direct contact info. Is there a way to PM through these forums? Or something equivalent? I messaged Kung Fu Steve directly and he responded a day or two later with positive feedback. Go to the inbox and create a message. I know it is doing awesome right now and he's using a type of sales funnel. I'm positive he's not doing anything unethical. Ryan Deiss or DM give away so much awesome free content, you could execute just on that info alone. Thanks. I'm happy to pay to have those guys execute it better, stronger, faster. That's the appeal to me. I don't want to try to be an expert in this. While I may be able to get there, it would take too long, and cost me more along the way than paying the right guys. Hopefully I'll be able to get in touch with Steve, and maybe some other clients of theirs. I just want to be sure that they'll be able to execute a successful plan while meeting my standard of ethics. If the only trick in their arsenal is to execute the kind of practices I heard about in this thread, that's not a good thing. However, I've purchased some of their informational products, and, from what I remember, the process was clean and above board. Anybody else out there worked with these guys that can provide some insight? Thanks, Sean. You probably found this forum on a Google search hit for this subject. However, realize this forum is not going to be a great resource for you on whether or not you should do business with them. Do your own due diligence. The opinions here are varied, but not authoritative on them. Consider this thread kind of like a discussion amongst friends that you are able to eavesdrop on. Nobody here knows you well enough to recommend a course of action for you. If you PM someone from the forum who is bullish on them, don't be surprised if you get a cheerleader response. However, realize that the forum in no way endorses them, nor is any of the information contained within these pages intended to be advice on whether or not any individual or company is reputable. If you read through this whole thread, and you still are considering doing business with them, then good luck to you. Please read this thread. Shucks. My plan was to pay them lots of money, get swindled, and then sue everybody in sight. That was my fast lane. Now, I guess I need to reconsider. Just kidding, of course. I'm a big boy, and just wanted to get an idea if these guys try to impose unsavory tactics on their clients, or will work within the ethical guidelines I set for them. And, if working within my guidelines might impair their ability to successfully deliver results for me and my company. I'm considering hiring them to do a very specific job to my standards, not theirs, and not to run my business for me or make ethical decisions. I get what you guys are saying. I guess my belief is that these guys have the ability to win clean or win dirty. I've done some business with them, buying their out-of-the-box info products, and everything has been clean so far. Now that I'm thinking about hiring them, I'm doing my due diligence. And, I guess you're saying that if they built a dirty funnel for somebody else, then those simply aren't the kind of people you'd ever want to do business with? I guess I get that. Not sure how I feel about that, but I do understand where you're coming from. Along those lines, do you guys know of other companies that will do the same kind of thing, build a funnel from top to bottom, and execute it, that also have a track record of success similar to what these guys have, that maybe operate on a higher standard? Thanks, Sean. Wow, Vig, this sounds borderline offensive. The underlying opinion injection here is killer. I don't think Steve advocates swindling anyone. You can learn something from folks but have a higher standard of ethics in your own business. Also, it sounds like Snacks is doing just that, due diligence. I get dropping the "we are not responsible," but as a mod I would hold you to a higher standard of neutrality, since you also have never directly done business with them and do not know the full story. I also have not and could not say one way or another, but I wouldn't impede on someone doing due diligence that is trying to find info and wanting to talk to fellow forum members without underlying jabs and assumptions. Anytime I hear the names of these gurus come up in conversation, I cringe a little. Maybe it comes from working in that industry for so long. You can Google any of their names plus lawsuit and see all sorts of interesting things. Fun game to play is count how many times each name hits for links to FBI or FTC investigations. I'm just going to leave this here. Used to be a pretty fun read back in the day. IDK if he still updates, but it's worth a look. Eater, found the post I was looking for. I really appreciate all this and the time you spent. Could you possibly repost the Glyphy link or send it to me? I checked it out before, though it's not working. Thank you again. I appreciate it.